Good day and welcome to your favorite sport program on TV, 360 Sport. I'm sure at this hour a lot of viewers across the globe are really waiting and excited about what we have for them today's program, and that's evident in the very fact that we've been receiving so much messages from our viewers across the globe, and I'm sure there'll be a time on the program that we have to read back your messages and appreciate you for always sticking to 360 Sport when it comes to the updates and latest in the world of sport. So I have a very special guest, and this is a woman that have excelled in a male-dominated sport, in a sport that you can count the females involved actively in terms of administration. You can count the name of these females, but this is one person that is a player. She's an ex-international, has played for Nigeria when it comes to the rugby. When it comes to rugby and all that, I'm talking about Princess Aban Ugonwanze Agugo. She is a member of the Nigerian Olympic Committee and also a board member of Nigerian Rugby Football Federation, as we call them. So we're talking about rugby today, and we're looking at the development of rugby in Nigeria and how it has been so far so good. It's good to have you on the show, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
It's if you check across Nigerian Rugby Football Federation and also Nigerian Rugby as a whole, when it comes to the female segment and has to do with the female, your name is always popping up first. And a lot of people we want to know how rugby has been since your own days as a player, and now that the stage whereby I think the present president, Are, has been doing so well, because recently they signed a deal to promote rugby. So tell us, what has been the development of rugby in your days and what we have right now?
Okay, thank you very much for having me. I joined rugby in 2007 with Delta Force. I first of all played for Delta Force. In 2007, I was their captain. We played some national leagues, and we featured at the national. So after the National Sports Festival in Kaduna, it happens to be that we've not been featuring rugby in major national competitions, and progressively in 2021, I was appointed by Rugby Africa into the Rugby Africa Women's Participatory and Advisory Committee member, and this year in January, sometime early January, I was awarded a scholarship by Rugby Africa to study health, sports, and exercise management with Lunds University of Luxembourg. And about a few weeks ago, I was awarded a similar scholarship by World Rugby to study with Cape Gemini University and a blend of Harvard Business School.
Okay. So what do you think has been the difference between rugby in your days and rugby we have right now? Has rugby developed as expected?
Progressively, rugby has been in a top notch currently, because in our days we hardly play competitions, we hardly go for international competitions, but apparently we were at the just concluded All African Games. Our female lady stallions featured there, and we've been having series of competitions within the nation, and we'll plan having friendly matches with neighbors like Cameroon, like Ghana, Benin Republic, and so on.
So what at those period of time where there've not been so much activities of female rugby, but you're still involved, what's that thing that motivated you to still stick when the sport wasn't, especially the female national team, when it wasn't nothing to write home about? You're still involved. So what motivated you to spend a good part of your life in promoting sport, in promoting rugby and being part of rugby? What's that motivation?
Honestly, I always believe in humble beginning. I know there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So, and I hoped and looked forward to seeing the light, which today I've not been disappointed with my hope. So that's it.
Okay, well said, well said. So we're going to go further in our questions as we look at what are those things that made the challenges rugby have been facing in the past. For example, you don't go for a competition. At what point in the history of rugby in Nigeria did did you have the headway that things started changing, and what really happened to make sure that those times of the past that you're involved in is no longer what they're experiencing? So what did they do that was different?
Um, in every organization, there's always the weakness, strengths, challenges, and threats. And
Okay.
the NRFF, that's Nigerian Rugby Football Federation, wouldn't be left out. Uh, in the past, we had issues of would I say administration not having continuity and all that. But recently in 2000, and I think from 2021, the current board has shown a lot of commitment and uh, uh, mapped out some strategies to tackle the challenges we've been having in the past, and it has been working for us.
Okay, thank you very much. You now look at some certain questions we tend to ask. What has been the reasons why there's low participation of female involvement in rugby? Because that was the case in football in the past, but football has gone better now and other. But why do you have low participation of women in rugby?
Okay, some people consider rugby a combat sport, so they run away from injuries and all that. Then we talk about the northern part of the country where we have dominantly Muslims, where they believe their women shouldn't come out for sporting activities, and the hijab they wear and all that. So is a lot of challenges facing rugby development. And we talk about the competition from other sports like football. When you have an athlete, you groom your athlete. Before you know it, they've gone to football, they've gone to athletics. So it's one of the challenges we are having. And another one is inability to sustain the players. Most of our players are based on voluntary participation, where because we don't pay them, it just once in a while we give them tips and all that. So it has been difficult to like sustain and keep the players, because there's nothing like a positive reinforcement and all that.
World Rugby Federation, and what are they doing? I'm sure they'll be also concerned. What do you think have been done in the past to make sure women get involved in rugby? And I also know that you've played your own role and contribution. So what have you done apart from Rugby Africa and the World Rugby or the World Nigerian Rugby Football Federation? What do you think should be done, or what have been done in the past to enable women participating in rugby?
Okay, fine. Just I want to use myself as a case study. Having been appointed by Rugby Africa and having gotten scholarships, myself, I am a role model to other upcoming girls that want to venture into sporting a career like rugby. And myself, I've gone through a lot of grassroots development in schools and community based. And I focus more on female schools so that we get more female into participation.
Has that yielded? Have there been positive results from your outreach? Because I know you have so much outreach, especially in the east where you are based, and there've been so much outreach. So what are the results? Have we seen any significant result on your own effort to enable female participate in this sport?
Yeah, sure. A lot of improvements in female participation, especially in the eastern part of Nigeria, where I'm based, like you said. I've gone to many schools and many communities. I focus more on the female category to make sure we have a gender equality in rugby sports.
Well said. You're also the chairman of Anambra State Rugby Football Association. That means that makes you a board member of Nigerian Rugby Football Federation. And can you give us an assessment of how Anambra has been doing so well when it comes to the involvement of rugby? Because I know that some states in the eastern part of the country are doing so well when it comes to rugby and some certain sport. Can you tell us what so far as your tenure or as the association which you chair has been doing involvement, whether at the youth games or the national games?
Okay, last year, okay, since 2021, I introduced rugby to Anambra State, and so far so good. We've had a lot of clubs and community-based rugby teams and schools rugby teams. Last year, I took two female teams by name Anambra Angels and Eastern Springbok. We went for the sevens championship, women's sevens championship held in Delta State, and we were able to come out the first sixth position.
Okay, well, now we know that the other southeast states that are involved in rugby. Are you going to say Anambra State is the best state when it comes to rugby from the southeast?
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, though we are one of the best anyway. We have many categories in rugby. We have under 15, we have the senior category. However, Anambra State has proven to be the best in Southeast from the just concluded uh, Sevens Women's Championship in Delta State last year. Anambra State came fifth, while other Southeast states came I think seventh, eighth, and thereabouts. So in the national ranking, Anambra comes before other southeastern states.
Okay, now we will not go back. We will go on this quick break, and when we come back, we still have you in the house. We go for this quick break, and when we come back, we still have one woman that has been promoting rugby in the country, and if you're a fan of rugby, she is with many of her titles, has done so well for the country. She's also the coordinator of Southeast Rugby Football Association, talking about Princess Alban Ugonwaize Agugo. So we'll go on this quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking more about the development of rugby in the country. Yeah, welcome back. Still 360 Sport, and we've been talking about rugby. If you're just joining us, you can be part of all our conversation on our social media platform so that you can enjoy what's going on. And yes, also our guest is still with us. And on Thursday, June 2024, 27th of day, there were a lot of Anambra Maryland folks who came to celebrate you, and not just you, about the development of rugby in the country. What was that? What was the purpose of that event, and what did it really achieve to further the development of sports of rugby in the southeast?
Okay, actually, on that very day, friends, well-wishers, and Anambra States came together to celebrate my achievements in rugby. So far, having heard of the scholarships I've gotten both at the continental and the global level, respectively. So they came together, the president generals of some communities, and friends all over. They came together to celebrate me, and at the same time, is a way of involving rugby, integrating rugby into the cultural inheritance of my people.
Seriously, I begin to believe now that after football in Anambra, who has we all know, is what will be the next sport in football in Anambra, because there's so much development, and I think you are, if I'm not mistaken, one of the most celebrated female sport female personality in Anambra State. What has been keeping you? I'm going to go back to that question. What has been keeping you to continue? Because when you see other women that are celebrated in sport in Anambra or other states in the south, it's all about football and some maybe sprints and or in athletics. But you have done this for rugby. Do you have a plan where some ladies will take over from you? What's your succession plan? What's the plan that, yes, after you leave this position, you still see the development of rugby in the country, in Anambra?
Yeah, in Anambra State, to be precise, I have a team. I have a team of over 50 players. I have women and men's team, and honestly, apart from rugby, I believe in other spheres of uh, existence, just like education and skill acquisition and morals. So I've been teaching them. I look forward to seeing successors that will take over and even excel more than I've just done.
So we are present now. That means most female in Anambra will definitely be so happy that you are involved in the development of rugby in Anambra. What's the next part for you? You've achieved so much, and some of these are individual development. Some of them are support from the federation. What's the next part? What's that thing that if you have the government support, if you have both the federal government support and the state government, what's that thing you intend to do further that you're not doing now because of you don't have the old resources to do? What's that thing you want to do to ensure that rugby in Anambra or in the south east, as you are also the coordinator of rugby in south, what's that next thing you want to do forward better than what you've been doing?
Okay, since about 2 years ago, I've had this long-term strategic plan to carry rugby along. But because of financial constraints, I've not been able to achieve everything. Though currently, I've gotten some potential investors and partners to support me. And I have the plans of going to the 36 states in Nigeria, meeting with their commissioner for sports, and looking forward to seeing how we can institute rugby clubs, especially the female rugby clubs, at least two in each state. And I'm working towards that.
So where do you get those support? I mean, who has come close enough to really support you to do all this?
Currently, I have some companies that are willing to support, and I still look up to having more support from other companies and individuals. But I wouldn't want to mention their names because I don't know how they'll feel about it anyway.
Okay. It's obvious that we've been spending so much of our time. Now, look at the newly signed contract, should I use contract or sponsorship that the Nigerian Rugby Football Federation is doing right now. What's the gains of that? I'm sure you're aware that they've just signed a new contract because you're also part of the board member. What's the purpose of that? What do you think will happen with that collaboration agreement with that firm?
Okay, the major focus for that MOU is on marketing, on visibility. We need NRFF to be shown, all the activities to be visible, and to attract potential investors, partners, and sponsors. So I think that's the key purpose of that partnering with Flover.
Presently, there's an international tournament going on right now. I mean, Nigerian rugby male are participating or they will participate. I'm not so certain now, but I see them in getting involvement in some international competition. Looking at Nigerian rugby and compared to that in West Africa, let's start with West Africa. Is there any other country that is as good in terms of skills, artistry of rugby players in West Africa? Or Nigeria is number one in West Africa, and we now look at Africa at large. Where can you place Nigeria when it comes to rugby in Africa?
Uh, Currently, we are number 8 in 7th. So I believe it's not a bad start after the coming back of rugby. That was November last year after we were suspended by World Rugby and all that, which affected our growth in rugby. So I think it's a good start anyway. It's not a poor one. So we look forward to being the best in Africa, which we've been and will still long to.
Now, finally, before I let you go, a lot of young female youth are watching you right now, and you are part of rugby when rugby was nothing to write home about. Now you are the face of female rugby in Nigeria. You've gotten scholarship, you've gotten award from World Rugby, from Rugby Afrique, many. But there are a lot of young girls looking at you. What are you going to tell them? I mean, they're watching right now, and if there's anything you need to tell them to ensure that they keep going on in their areas of life, whether in rugby and other, a bit of advice to the young girls watching you right now.
Okay, I want to advise the younger girls watching who sees me as their role model. I want to let you know that I am not giving all this because I happen to be the best player, but because I was humble to the core. So you have to make humility your watchword. And another thing is dedication, being focused, and most importantly, you have to go to school. No matter what your participation in sports, I advise you go to school. It's very important.
Yeah, because I know you've got a
Because
lot of. That was supposed to be our last call.
You have to leverage on your academics, or when the strength is no longer there to carry you.
Well said. Well said. What? Now that's supposed to be my first question, but I'm making the last question and the last one before I let you go. How did you come across rugby in the first place? How did you come across rugby? I mean, introduced you to rugby.
Okay, that was when I was in Delta State. I was their tennis player, their number 1 tennis player when I came back from Pretoria, South Africa, HPC, Pretoria, South Africa. I went for a training tour in tennis. So when I came back, one of the rugby coaches in Delta State saw me and was like, Princess, you can play rugby, come and try it out. So when I went there, what really inspired me is the conviviality there, as in the team game. Tennis is just you and you alone. So the team game and everything, that was what inspired me to join rugby.
Thank you very much for being part of today's show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes. A very wonderful woman, done so well for rugby, than she can ever say. I'm sure she's choosing her words, and no, but with her profile and everything we have in front of us, this is someone that was involved in tennis before she went to rugby. At the time she was part of rugby was not even a sport to talk about. But she now? She's the face of female rugby with so much of the coordinator of Southeast Rugby, chairman Anambra Rugby Federation, a member of Nigerian Rugby Federation. So any question that has to do with rugby, Princess she is someone you need to really go to. And I'm sure you've all enjoyed yourself talking about rugby today. We thank you for your time. And let's don't forget that anytime we say it's about to draw the curtain for today's show, the conversation only ends on TV, but it continues on all our social media platforms where you can continue giving us more suggestion and much of your views as regards to the topic of the day and the guest of the day. Thank you very much. I'm Ememu Shitu. Same time next week, we'll be giving you all what you need to know in the world of sport. Bye for now.